On today's episode of Work It Out with Lauri, we're going to be discussing upward bullying as well as knowledge hoarding.
All right, here we go. Buckle in for a good one, ladies and gents, on a brand new Work It Out with Lauri.
Howdy, WVP crew. Welcome to Work It Out with Lauri, the no-nonsense show for anyone navigating workplace bullying, chaos, or straight-up dysfunction. I'm Lauri Lilly, your host. I'm here to help you make sense of all the drama you're experiencing at work.
And I'm Kosmo Esplin, Sir Showrunner and your backstage guide, directly providing Lauri with your questions and workplace dilemmas so you get the practical solutions you need. So what do you say? Let's work it out. All right, welcome back once again for the 16th time to Work It Out with Lauri. Folks, thanks for tuning in, and we have a good one for you this Monday.
Let's get to it, Cosmo. Thanks.
Yeah, all right, so we have a question coming in from someone who is submitting this anonymously, but this person is in retail and is responsible for inventory, so there's a little bit of background. The situation itself is, quote, trained in a store that uses the most updated methods, but being audited by an employee from a different store that uses outdated methods that they've been using for 25 years. Then being told that I wasn't doing the procedure correctly because the outdated methods weren't being used, and management reprimanded me for doing the work incorrectly. Management ended up siding with the employee who used outdated methods. And both of the people in this scenario, both the target and the bully, are individual contributors.
That's right.
So that's important to know that it's not like someone in a leadership role. This is kind of a complex situation, but what's your response off the bat, Lauri?
Okay, there's a couple of goodies here. The one that stands out the most is the person who's bullying is an individual contributor who's been with this employer for 25 years. This has trouble written all over it, as is evidenced by the fact that there is a very clear conflict between what is being trained at the store level where this person works and by the know-it-all. Oh, we all know the know-it-all bully who's been there for 25 years.
So much fun to deal with.
Yeah, and who believes that they know it all, they've seen it all. Their method reigns supreme. Everything they do is perfection. And so they're going to continue to do it their way. It doesn't matter what training they get. It doesn't matter what policy they receive. It doesn't matter what directive they are told. They're going to do it my way.
Or the highway.
Yeah, they're going to do it their way. And so this created a very clear conflict. What's unfortunate here is that the person who wrote this in was using the better method, the known method, the correct method.
The current method.
The current method, and was then reprimanded by leadership. And you know why that happened? It's called upward bullying. That person, 25 years, know-it-all. 100%, I'm sure that there was some conflict between the bully and the target here, where maybe there were discussions with that leader back and forth and what do we do and trying to get on the same page. They didn't have a chance because the person who'd been there for 25 years was going to get in the store leader's ear, have a little bit of a complaining fest, probably was very rude and nasty and said very insulting things, criticizing the target and the work they're doing, despite the fact that they're following the procedure. And because of what? Everybody together now. Imposter leadership. They just gave in. And that's a classic, particularly when a person has 25 years of experience. And just so everyone knows, 25 years of experience does not mean that you're doing it correctly. Oftentimes, I have seen so many cases of the person who's there for many, many years. They believe that it is their way or the highway, and they are well outdated. They are not going to stay current with any of the new skills, any of the new ways of doing things. They are locked in at a decades-old process. That's the way it's going to be. and nobody's going to tell them otherwise. And that is the case with this particular situation. And the target didn't have a chance, because when you have an imposter leader who has low character and is willing to listen to the nonsense and the lies and the incorrect information and willing to side with a person who is not remaining current with the work procedures, this person didn't have a chance. I'm very sorry. The best way to go about this, if anyone finds them in a similar situation, right, where there's upward bullying and this person is in your leader's ear, you have to over communicate and you have to get it all in writing and get them to commit so that they say in advance, you are going to be expected to do X. Okay, if you're going to expect me to do X, I want it in writing. I want it documented so that when the results of the work come out, whatever that may be, right? We don't have all the details here, but whatever the results are, I can look back and say, hey, do you remember that time we had this conversation? You told me explicitly that under no circumstances should I deviate from the process that is 25 years old and presented to me and trained by this person at a different store who is not following policy.
So within the context of this scenario, what would be the right way to approach management or whoever that is, not HR, probably, to rectify this situation and the ongoing dynamics that are not playing out in the target's favor?
Yeah, it is to have a conversation then to document it. But the reality is this leader, this imposter leader, is never going to be held accountable or responsible for their decisions at all. This person was scapegoated, 100%. They were set up for failure purposely. They were scapegoated. We don't know what the result was. I bet I could tell you, anyone who knows what scapegoating looks like, it's not good, right? They may have gotten a warning. They could have even been fired. We don't know the result of this, but they were absolutely scapegoated here. The leader, imposter leader, is never going to be accountable. And certainly the know-it-all 25-year veteran who refuses to learn and grow and seek new information and be current, that person is never going to be held accountable either.
What do you think is the best way to bridge the gap between someone who has been there 25 years and is maybe committed to still using the my way or the highway approach and outdated methods compared with the person who is using the correct techniques? How do you think we can unite the two?
This is a leadership issue. And for anyone who is listening, who is in leadership, if you have folks who are on your team who are holding on to policies and ways of work that are not current, that's on you at this point. It is your role and your responsibility to ensure your team is current and that you don't have that person who is holding on to outdated procedures or knowledge hoarding, right? That's another major risk of a person who's been in a role for many, many years, is they often have legacy information that they hoard, and they use that as a source of power and control. In this case, absolutely, the bully was using this outdated method as a form of power and control. It's a little bit of an offshoot of knowledge hoarding, but it's the same idea that they've decided that this is the way that it's going to be done. Under no circumstances are they changing, and my way or the highway. And that's very common among people who have been in a role for many, many years. Leaders, get it together. These types of individuals are massive risks, and they often fall into the perfect role of a bully.
So why would leadership even side with this person who is using, outdated methods? It seems like in the corporate world, we worship new, current trends.
25 years in a role, incredible influence in the organization.
That's a good point.
They're a bully. Bullies can really do amazing things and very negative things. And this imposter leader, there was no chance they were going to stand up for what was right here. That bully had 25 years of goods, and they were ready to go to the battlefield, so to speak.
Do you think we put seniority on a pedestal too much?
That's a good question. I don't know that it's too much. I do think there's value in seniority, but also I think more than seniority, leaders should appreciate the ability to adapt and open-mindedness. This person, this bully, absolutely a closed-minded, scarcity-minded bully. You're looking for people who are willing to be in an organization for years and years and years and learn and grow and be open to change and adaptable. That's where you really have someone who is going to be valuable over time. This person, they put this organization at risk. We don't know the outcome. We don't know what kind of work is being done here, but they're placing this organization at risk. And the imposter leader is just signing off on it. That's why imposter leaders are so dangerous. They do not have integrity. They don't have the ability to stand up for what is right. They don't have that moral compass. They don't have standards. Where those are missing, this could be a very slippery slope. If we're dealing with money, we don't know what the outcome could be. You don't want to mess around with that. And that's where you cannot have imposter leaders around. They can cause major problems for organizations and anyone who's around them. If you're in a battle around a policy and a procedure on a very serious matter around money or compliance and matters of seriousness of that nature, run far away.
And one of the parts of running away entails a stop at WBP's free consultation center with Lauri Lilly. So if you are in an abusive workplace, consider reaching out to Lauri at workplacebullyproject@gmail.com. But until then, keep listening to Work It Out with Lauri, because we're going to have a lot more good content coming your way.
Yeah, a lot of fun stuff coming up we've got planned. And thanks, everyone, for all of your support. Please like and subscribe, share with friends and family, and let's keep building this movement.
Thanks, Lauri.
Take care. Thanks so much for tuning in to Work It Out with Lauri. If today's episode hit home at all, please share it with someone who needs it. And please remember, you deserve to work in peace.
And remember to follow this podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Substack. Plus, send us your story or your question at workplacebullyingproject.com.
We'll see you next time, and we'll work it out together.